Hello everybody, this is that Chernobyl guy, and this is a very different video to what I normally do. Normally I'd be doing history videos, but of course, as you can see, I'm in fact in a video game. And this is Chornobyl, a game by Radiointeractive Studios. So I'm going to be just exploring the game pretty much and giving my thoughts on it. Let's see what happens. So, yeah. In case you didn't know, this game is loosely based on the story of Valery Perevozchenko, who was at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant during the explosion, but he unfortunately did not survive. I've already done a video on part of his story. There's a famous myth that he was in the reactor hall in the last few seconds before the explosion and managed to run his way out of it. Of course, this is not true. Neither is the whole story with the bouncing caps. But yeah, let's see what happens in this game. So, my first impressions is that I really like the sound. The soundscape of this game is very, very impressive. I don't know if you can hear it. I'll go quiet for a few seconds. But yeah, this really, or at least in my opinion, really corresponds to what it would have sounded like, but the stairs would not have looked like this. I'll see if I can bring up some video footage somewhere of what the stairs look like, but they were normally like plainly white. This really feels like it was Chernobyl years after the explosion. Again, I don't really know what's with the barrels. They would have been very, very clean staircases at the time, and you can hear that alarm there, which means we are in the Golden Corridor. Does not really feel like the Golden Corridor of the time. I'm going to head this way first, which I believe is towards the Unit 3 control room. Yes, you can see the sign there, but there's no door for it. Don't know really where it's gone, but at least at this point, before the accident, or during the accident as well, the Golden Corridor would not have looked like this, or, I mean, the ceiling would have, but yeah, it was a plain white corridor at the time of the accident, and the tile pattern as well was this really weird red and black tiles, but the Golden Corridor became gold afterwards, and I assume I've sent, or future me has put up some video or photo of it somewhere. But I guess now I'm heading back towards Unit 4 and certain death. Yeah, so from the game description, at least, it says avoid flames and other safety hazards as you make your way down contaminated corridors, narrow stairwells, and damaged sections of the plant, marching towards your inevitable death. Which, yeah, in the case of Perevozchenko was a certainty. He was tasked both with trying to manually lower the control rods, or rather he ended up part of the group by chance that was tasked with that, and then as he was the shift supervisor for the entire reactor block, it fell on him to locate the missing workers, or in that case it was just Hodemchuk. Now, I'm not too sure what's with these signs or these fallen objects here. But I do really like the feeling of disaster. As you can see, we're up to where Control Room 4 should be. And this fallen light here is, yeah, really like that. Again, the atmosphere and the sound design, it feels right. Like, the building itself kept falling apart for hours after the accident. It seems the only way you can head here is down, as far as I can tell. So, down we go, I guess, and of course down will be towards where the cable rooms are in the real nuclear power plant. They're not in this game, we'll get to that in a second, but yeah. Heading into the silence and the darkness. And then this strange thing here with, like, the grates with the red lights through the floor. It doesn't feel Chernobyl-like. The Chernobyl nuclear power plant recently put out a photo of what these cable rooms would have looked like. I'll bring that up. And then this, again, is pretty unnerving, but those are, I assume, the pumps. They definitely look like the pumps, and this would probably be the south main circulation pump hole of Unit 4. Now, at the time, the Unit 3 and Unit 4 pump hole were connected, and so if you were looking in this direction, you should see Unit 3. Yeah. Of course, another look there through the window. There's a beautiful panorama, if you can, or future me can bring it up again, of what this looks like here, which is very interesting. And then we continue on here. I'm going to assume this is supposed to be the north pump hole. Definitely with everything collapsing here. Definitely doesn't look good. Now, maybe it's just me, but I feel like these pumps here are just a bit too small. Fire. I wonder if that burns us. Oh gosh, yes it does. I really like the flooding detail here. Again, I haven't really touched on this much in my videos, and I do want to in the future, but the nuclear power plant was effectively flooding more than burning after the accident, and any corridor that did not burn basically flooded, like even as far up as the floors just below the reactor hole, pretty much, which is where Akimov and Toptonov lost their lives, or where they received their lethal radiation dosage. It was from this water that was pooling up, because it was water from the steam separators that was pouring out, and that water had of course been through the reactor and become heavily contaminated. Now, again, I do feel like they are slightly too small, and here's that incredible just sound effect. Now, I can't remember if I've said this, but the pump hole should be actually up instead of down relative to the golden corridor. I have no idea what these are here, but yeah, so I don't know if they're going to be moving them in a future update or working on the layout. I recognise this door. This is the HBO Chernobyl reactor hall door. Yellow, because it was filmed at Ignalina, and Ignalina uses these yellow doors. At Chernobyl, this door was red. But it would have looked very similar, I guess. Now, this flaking paint here, I don't know if this is intentional or not, but again, it really feels like this is more Chernobyl years after the explosion. Okay, I really like these sound effects. Just building up to what is coming, which I think we all know what's coming, but yeah, wow. 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 Yeah, this is incredible feeling building up, and it appears this door has been knocked off its hinge. I think I'll touch on this later, but this here would be the corridor leading towards certain death, I guess. It's hard to joke about these things, but yeah, this is where I think the way this game is trying to represent it is from the western side, so like the main entrance to the reactor hall, and again, these sound effects are coming in absolutely terrifying. There's a collapsed roof support beam, and there she is. There's Yelena, the upper biological shield of the reactor. This really feels like HBO, like you'd see the two workers from HBO looking down from about this angle, and of course heading back. And the game crashed. I'm going to assume I got a lethal dose of radiation there, and my player has just collapsed. So, rest in peace, Paravozchenko in the game, and of course, rest in peace, Paravozchenko in real life. I'm going to relaunch the game now so I can continue talking about it. Now, as I said again, what I do like about this game is it is very, very good at visual and auditory storytelling. Like, in terms of being in the nuclear power plant at the time after the explosion, these dark corridors with the sounds of what must feel like the building itself falling apart around you, as it continued to do throughout the many days and weeks after the explosion. This is what it would have felt like being in. Is it accurate to what the building would have looked like? No, but I don't think that's what they're going for here. So I can forgive them for that. Like, I can forgive this corridor here being gold and having the wrong tiles because it's trying to put a newbie, I suppose, someone who's not familiar with the accident and the deep story and information behind it, trying to put them in the perspective of this player, of Paravozchenko. And again, even something as simple as like this light here collapsing, I keep looking at it, it's really good visual storytelling. Yeah, it's really, really well made for those purposes. Like, it really does feel like you are in a nuclear power plant after it's exploded. Is it Chernobyl in terms of layout? No. Like, the pump hall here and Yelena are located below the control room, which is, sure, someone's probably going to say, that's a nitpick, but it's more my Chernobyl knowledge shining through there. Or, well, I suppose it might be nitpicking. But I do also feel like it is trying to go through, like, Paravozchenko's night and what he suffered through. Sorry, these sound effects are really, really, really well made. But it's trying to make someone who's not familiar with Chernobyl understand this sort of dread and this feeling of inevitability that you are going to die. It's trying to make people understand that, you know, you are this worker here who really doesn't know what he's going to see, but he knows it isn't good. Like, there's been an explosion so large it has blasted this door off. Now, as I said, in real life it would not have looked like this. They would have been approaching from the other side, the reserve refueling machine control room, and looking from a great distance. They wouldn't have been able to see, like, I think here we are located on the balcony above, so we would have been entering from the refueling machine's main control room, I guess. I can't remember the exact name of it, but a very HBO version of these events. Now, of course, in real life, this door was held open by Yevchenko back there, where it's missing. I don't know if they're going to be including other characters. I'm just going to get a screenshot here for, like, the thumbnail and everything. It's a really, really amazing shot. Now, is it accurate to what happened? No. But, again, I don't think that's what it's going for. They would have been looking at basically what Paravozchenko in real life described as some strange blue glow coming from the reactor hole. He didn't really get to see much. And, of course, he never received his lethal dose here because they were pretty well sheltered. Paravozchenko would continue through the night, and he actually ended up on some sort of wooden board and using that to try and bridge across the pump hole towards where he thought Hodenchuk would be, which the game doesn't really represent. Back there, of course. Now, I don't think you can actually approach Yelena, of course, because you would die. But I'll go try that. And again, like these incandescent blocks of graphite that you can see on the ground here, it's a very atmospheric game. Yeah. Like that there really just conveys like the terror of the night, but unfortunately for a lot of us to convey that terror, because we're not professional scientists or engineers or physicists or whatever, we can't really feel that without exaggerating the visuality of the night. It takes a lot, both understanding it for one, and clearing up a lot of the misconceptions, because a lot of those misconceptions but really exaggerate the night, I guess. They make it a lot worse than it was. So visually pleasing. So yeah, I don't think you can approach. I think if you go down, the game will either crash or just freeze. Feels like you can hear a heartbeat in the background as well. Yeah, let's try. And the game freezes. Our character has disappeared from existence. So we can't move or anything. But yeah, it is very clear to me that it is trying to tell the story of all the workers through one character, even if it is loosely based on Perevozchenko. Like, we are going through different phases of the nuclear power plant. The cable rooms, and then into the golden corridor, and then the pump hole, and finally the reactor hall. These different places where everybody is doomed, I suppose. But yeah, that is pretty much my opinion of the game. It is absolutely incredible visual auditory storytelling. Like, I don't feel like me giving this audio commentary does it justice. I do recommend this game. It is free to play on itch.io. I don't know if I'm saying that website's name right. I will leave a link in the description. It is free to play, which is nice. But yeah, there's not really much else to say about this game, so I hope you've enjoyed listening to my terrible live commentary here. It's not even actually live, I had a bit of an issue with the microphone. I had to record this audio afterwards, going back through and just, again, retelling my thoughts as it happened and as I was watching the video, so I hope you've enjoyed anyway. If you've got anything else you want me to react to, I guess, while I've got a bit of spare time, you're more than welcome to suggest it, but of course I will be continuing a lot of this history content. I just thought this game was worth sharing. I've been looking forward to it for quite a while, because one of the developers, Brandon Santos, has been posting quite a few updates and revisions of this game for quite a while on Reddit. So I felt I definitely wanted to share it. I'm hopeful there's going to be more updates in the future to expand on the story if they want to. And yeah, I hope all of you have enjoyed.